Hey everyone, and welcome back to another weekly wisdom. It's been a while, but we're back giving you diversity, equity, and inclusion tips in less than 10 minutes every week. So we wanted to get started with one that's a little bit outside of the usual because this time we're talking about marketing. A lot of the times when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're specifically talking about internal work and your workforce. However, we get questions all the time about how to integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion into a marketing strategy. So today I'm excited to offer you 3 steps for integrating diversity, equity, and inclusion into your marketing strategy. Again, we're going to do this in less than 10 minutes, so let's get right into it. So when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we want to make sure that we're being very considerate of our people. And one of the ways that we can be very considerate of our people when thinking about marketing is specifically by thinking about our customers and making sure that we're getting the perspectives of those that we serve, whether they're our clients, our customers, whoever it is, our consumers, whoever it is that works with us to consume our product, to consume whatever it is that we're producing, our service. And so when you're thinking about how to integrate diversity, equity, and inclusion into your marketing strategy, you want to start by involving the perspectives of those you serve. Now, it isn't uncommon for sales teams and marketing teams to have customer advisory groups or something of the sort. But my biggest push to you as you're thinking about how to make sure that it is integrating a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens is to make sure that that panel or that advisory board is diverse, that it is reflective of the full breadth of your customer base or your consumer base. And that's something that you can work with your diversity, equity, and inclusion team on, or it's something that you can make a goal of the marketing team within your organization and have it be a diversity, equity, and inclusion goal. So that's the first one. The next one I have here is very similar, except it allows you to leverage some of the resources that are inside of your organization, specifically your employee resource groups. So you'll want to make sure that you're not just integrating the perspective of a diverse array of customers, consumers, and clients. You'll want to make sure that you partner with your employee resource groups. There are many ways that you can engage in events and activities, many ways that you can get the feedback and leverage your employee resource groups as focus groups for building out new marketing campaigns and or actually building out strong products. So in a lot of organizations, employee resource groups, which as you may remember, employee resource groups are a conglomerate of employees that identify a particular way, or rather that further the identity of a particular group within an organization, whether they identify that way or not. Remember, employee resource groups can have allies. When you think about partnering with your employee resource group, you should be thinking about how this group can support some of the marketing ideas that you have through those events, through their perspectives, perhaps through focus groups. And in fact, many organizations refer to their employee resource groups as business resource groups because they end up really formalizing that relationship with their employee resource groups. One thing I will caution here, though, is that remember, your employee resource groups are primarily there to create an inclusive environment for your fellow employees. So we should not be seeing these groups solely working on marketing and sales in this way, okay? And then lastly, I want to make sure that we talk about another thing that you can be integrating into your experience with your groups, specifically with your marketing strategy when you're thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that's engaging in a representation audit. And this means looking at your websites, looking at your marketing campaigns on social media, looking at any printed materials that you may send out, whether it be magazines or mailing materials. You'll want to make sure that there is representation across the board. And we're not just talking about racial and ethnic representation. We want to be thinking about inclusivity across the board. So that means thinking about size inclusivity. It means thinking about whether or not the couples that you're showing on your marketing further an idea of heteronormativity. So thinking about whether or not we have LGBTQ plus folks represented in our marketing campaigns. And the same goes for thinking about the gender binary and whether or not we're making sure that we're reflecting the expansiveness of gender representation and not just focusing on the gender binary. So we want to be thinking about all of those things when we're looking at each element of our marketing campaign. Again, you'll want to look at your website, you'll want to look at your mailing information, whatever you might be pushing out there that is printed material, and you'll want to be looking at your social media content to make sure that you are representing a wide array of consumers. And that is the case whether we're talking about consumers that are, everyday folks or consumers that might be business clients. When we're demonstrating that we are business, that we are B2B organizations, and I say this from a place of understanding and knowledge because CNetWork is a B2B business in many ways. We work with companies and we have consultations with other organizations. We still are very, very cognizant of how all of our marketing campaigns are inclusive of the professional and the wide array of professionals that may be out there. And for us, that also means thinking about those who work from home, those who spend time not in the office, but who are absolutely professionals wherever they may be. So that is, again, those are the three things that we want to be thinking about. And those were the 3 tips for integrating DEI into your marketing strategy. It is always a pleasure to do these diversity, equity, and inclusion 10-minute tips, but you can learn more about us and get more information from us through some of our other activities. We are all over social media, and you can find us on everything from Twitter to Instagram to YouTube, where you might be watching this video, and LinkedIn. And you can also schedule a consultation with us because, as I mentioned, we are very used to working with companies on all things related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. You can schedule a consultation with us by going to cnetwork.com/consultation. All right, we are under 10 minutes as promised, and that was your weekly wisdom, and I look forward to being back here next week. Thanks, everyone.